Great. Like I said, I'm Joe Wax from Hudson County Office of Cultural Affairs, and I'm fortunate enough to be running this grant. It's a new grant for our office, or I should say it's a new old grant, the Hudson County History Partnership Program. This office, which has been in existence for many years, had done this program, this grant program, many moons ago, and then we decided to revive it. This grant is in. We do this with the New Jersey Historical Commission, and thanks to them, that we're getting the funds from them, and which we will be distributing to, hopefully, to eligible groups. So I'll get started. I just would ask before if you guys, whoever's participating in this, if you could just send me an email. I assume most of you got my email. It's jwaks@hcnj.us. Just if you could just pop me a quick email when this is over, just to let me know that you participated, so I know who is on here exactly. So I figured the way this will work. By the way, I have Martin Greenlee on the line, who's from Zoom Grants, who is our hosting our grants now. They did our LAP grant, the Local Arts Program grant, which recently the period for the grant just closed, and they are hosting the Hudson County History Partnership Program grant as well, and we're excited to be working with them. So Martin's on the line, and he's going to chime in a bit. I figured the way we work this is we just go through the guidelines, which are on. I sent copies of it with one of the emails I sent to you. It's also available when you go into Zoom Grants and either create an account or go into an existing account that you already have. It's in the FY17, Fiscal Year 17 Hudson County History Partnership Program library. So I figured I'd just kind of go through this, what I think are the most salient points, and if you have questions that are pertinent to what I'm talking about, feel free to chime in. Otherwise, you can just hold your questions to the end, and we'll try to answer them. But if you do have a question that's germane to what I'm talking about, that would be fine. So I'm going to go first to the guidelines, and I'll just go briefly through the timetable, which you can find right here on page 3. So the application. Yeah.
Could you accept the presenter role so you can share your screen?
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry. How do I do that? Click your. Where am I looking?
There should be those 3. There should be some dots up. Let me. I can do it again here. Let me send that to you again. Past presenter role. Something should pop up saying that.
Download an app.
Okay, do that real quick.
Okay, I'm running the.
There it goes. Oh, you declined the presenter role.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, here we go. We'll try it again. Let me try passing that on to you. Okay, you should be offered to accept that. There you go. You're now the presenter. We're now seeing your screen now, Joe.
Okay, great. So you can see the guidelines, everybody. Martin?
No, it's a black screen at the moment. Oh, there it goes. Now I can see the fiscal year 2017. There you go. Now
Okay.
I can see the guidelines. Yep.
How do I get rid of this thing at the top that says how will you join the conference?
We don't see that. That's all. You can just drag and move that somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I can't move it. But anyway. All right, folks, sorry about that. So we're going to go down to page 3 and just give you the timeline for when everything is due. So the application went up on Monday, November 7th. That's passed. Today is the webinar. So the application is due Wednesday, December 8th by 11:59, and you can either the certification page, which is also available. It will pop up at the end of when you submit your application, but it's also available as part of the it's also available in the application itself. You'll be able to click on it. You can find it and click on it, and we can show you that when we go through the application. So you need to get the certification page either needs to be postmarked by 11:59 on December 8th or hand-delivered to our office here in Jersey City by 5 p.m. on Thursday the 9th. And then I'm going to be meeting with the review panel on December 16th, and we'll let everybody know about the grant, about their awards and contracts and all that good stuff by January 9th. And then you can see there's reports June 10th, seeming eternity from now, which will be here before you know it. That's for the interim report, and then the final report. You need to get everything to me by December 19th, and we'll be sending you the forms for those things, so don't fret. All right, so this is like I said, this is a new grant program that we're doing, or new old grant program, and what it is it's for nonprofit organizations that serve the residents of Hudson County, any of the 12 municipalities in the county, and it's to I'll just go through the objectives: broadening, deepening, and diversifying the audience for history in Hudson County, helping strengthen and further develop history organizations and programs in Hudson County, initiating new programs on the history of the county and any of its 12 municipalities, improving the management and interpretation of historic sites and historic collections in Hudson County, expanding public understanding and awareness of historical resources in Hudson County, and increasing public and organizational participation in historical programs and activities in Hudson County. So seemingly, you would think that this would only be open to historical organizations, like the Hudson County Genealogical Society, or there's a historical organization in Bayonne. Hey, I would just ask whoever's just got on there, if you could just mute your phone, and then if you have any questions, you can unmute it. Thanks. So who can apply for this grant? Hudson County-based nonprofit history-related organizations like the ones I just were talking about, who have collections or programming related to Hudson County or history of its 12 municipalities. So you have to be incorporated in the state of New Jersey. You have to be a nonprofit under 501c3 or have an application pending, or you're an incorporated group which has not yet received tax-exempt status, but you need to demonstrate. Hello? Can you just mute your phone, whoever that is? And then if you have questions, you can unmute it. Thanks. Have been in existence for at least 1 year and demonstrate an ability to provide history programs and or services to the public. So that's the first one. The key, I mean, you have to, all those housekeeping things are important, but really you have to be a history-related organization in the county and be doing history programming. Secondly, you can be a unit of government, local government, including schools, libraries, or colleges or universities. Agencies of the federal or state government are not eligible, but that does not include colleges or universities. So you can be a state college or university and participate in this program. You can be a municipal library, a unit of local government, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Martin, can everyone hear me?
Yes, everybody can hear you now. Sorry, I was trying to mute everybody, but it wasn't working out that way. So
okay. So thirdly, I should say, arts organizations in the county, and anybody on the line who's an arts organization probably has participated in our local arts program, the LAP grant program. So you would qualify for this as well. But we'll get further into it. You would need to present a artistic history programming, creative history-based happenings, history-based murals, visual art exhibitions, musical arrangements or performances of historical subjects inside or outside of theater. And there's just one we were concerned. One thing we were concerned with, and I don't know how valid the concern is, but since this is the first year in a long time we're doing this program, we didn't want organizations to just pick something they had in the can and say, "Oh, this is a good opportunity to fund it." So with the arts organizations requiring that at least 20% of the cost of at least 20% of the cost to be covered by the grant is for consultation with a qualified historian on the subject of the matter of the project. And I don't think that'll be too difficult, since we have a lot of colleges and universities around here and a lot of historians. So, but we can discuss that. What I would say is anybody on this call, if you, obviously we'll open it up for questions, but if you do have like a project in mind and you want to kind of just bounce it off of us, feel free to shoot me an email and we'll get back to you ASAP. So just with, obviously with, same as for in letter A, you have to be a nonprofit, blah blah blah, all those things. You can read those. I don't need to read them. And then lastly, we wanted to open this up to business organizations, chambers of commerce, economic development corporations, business improvement districts that also may be interested in presenting history-related programming to the public. They are eligible. So I'm not going to go through all this. You see, there's a credit line that you're going to have to, if you're fortunate enough to get a grant, that you'll have to give credit to the state, New Jersey Historical Commission, the Department of State, and County Executive Thomas A. DeGeese, and the Hudson County Board of Chosen Freeholders. I'm not going to go through the reporting process now, but I think what I will go through is more about what the grant is about. So I think that's important. The other stuff you can read. So okay, so about the guidelines, the Hudson County History Partnership Program, and I'm on page 7 if you're following along. We provide the program awards competitive matching grants to support specific projects related to the history of Hudson County or any of its 12 municipalities. That's important to note. Just so if you're familiar with the LAP program, with some of you maybe, there are 3 different categories. There's general operating support, there's program support, and there's technical assistance. So since this is a new program, we decided that we were just going to make this program oriented. So there's no general operating assistance. You can't, if you're looking just for money to help operate your organization, this grant is not for you. This grant is for specific projects. So the maximum project support request is $8,000. A one-to-one match is required. Hold on, someone's having, I will answer them after this. One-to-one match is required. So 100% of the grant must be matched by the grantee organization. It can be in any combination of cash and or in-kind donations, which, if you could just mute, whoever that is, you could just mute your phone, and if you have questions, you can chime in. That would be great, please. So, like I said, the match can be in any combination of cash and or in-kind services, include products, services such as volunteer time, donated services, supplies, rental space. So, for example, if the grant award is $6,000, the required one-to-one match would be $6,000, which can be in any proportion of cash or in-kind. So, don't let the match scare you. You can, you can do some of it in cash and some of it in in-kind, or any combination thereof. The total cost of a project often exceeds the grant amount, so projects may be overmatched with additional cash and or in-kind donations from the grantee. So if your program, let's say you get $6,000, but your program is $8,000, you got a grant for $6,000, but your program costs $8,000. You would have to make that up. With cash or in kind or whatever. So it's important applicants should determine the actual cost of the project before deciding on the amount of the grant request, which ensures that your organization can meet the cash match requirements. So I think this is the most important thing we should probably go through, which I'm highlighting right now, which is what kind of projects can be funded. And I guess I will read through them. If you have any questions when we get to this, when we go through this, we'll go through the kind of expenses that are covered, who may not apply, and what is ineligible. So you might have questions during that. Feel free to unmute your phone and chime in. So what kind of projects can be funded? Presentations and interpretation of public information about county and local history, such as brochures describing the organization's collection, programs or services. Public programs such as lectures, exhibitions, conferences, symposia, and workshops. These are pretty easy things to grasp, I think. Artistic history programs such as creative history-based happenings, or historically based murals, visual arts exhibitions, musical arrangements or performances, or performances on historical on historical subjects inside or outside of theater can be considered for funding. Same as I said before, at least 20% of the costs to be covered by the grant is for consultation with a qualified historian on the subject matter of the project. This program must educate or bring awareness to persons, places, or events in the history of Hudson County or any of its 12 municipalities. So, I think some people might ask, well, can we do it about like general New Jersey history? We really want to kind of keep this to the history of Hudson County or the history of any of the 12 municipalities in Hudson County. You can also use the funds for original research and writing, bibliographical essays or historiographies, research in connection with historic preservation projects, research that analyzes the field of Hudson County and its municipalities' history, such as the need for long-range planning, resource management, or heritage tourism. So this can be, to maybe say it in a better way, this can be like seed. If you have a bigger project, if your organization has a bigger project, this can be like the grant can be used for kind of seed money for research that you need to do in order to do that bigger project. Oral history projects, which we all know what they are, audio, video, or monographs. So it's not like interviewing people who were involved in local history. Number 8, editorial work, including the updating of important works on Hudson County and its 12 municipalities. Publications, that's a pretty wide berth there, but obviously it would be related to history of Hudson County or its municipalities. Film or video treatment, scripts, or production. Development or enhancement of websites that specifically deal with the history of Hudson County and its municipalities. Feasibility studies are planning for large-scale projects. That kind of goes back to what I said back from number 6. Surveys of historical resources of Hudson County or its municipalities. Such a survey is a planning tool to identify, record, and evaluate historical assets and would form the foundation of a comprehensive and proactive historic preservation program. Number 14, educational components of ceremonies, reenactments, commemorations, or anniversaries of historical events. The caveat is we do not want you to use funds for expenses like receptions or refreshments or theatrical performances, concerts, citations or proclamations, the gimmies, like the giveaway type things, plaques, equipment rental, or other operational expenses associated with such events. Now, the theatrical performances and the concerts, it kind of seems like it's contradictory to what I said earlier. So if you are thinking of doing something in 14, you should definitely bounce it off of us. Microfilming the production of finding aids to collections, genealogical projects resulting in research tools, indexes, cemetery locators, collective regional resources, publicly accessible databases of use to the wider historical community. Number 17, production of CD-ROMs or other digital projects that feature original content related to the history of Hudson County or its municipalities. Videotaping or audio taping of public programs or oral history project is permitted if the transcripts, YouTube links, free downloads, or viewing or listening are available and are widely accessible to the public. So does anybody have any questions about those? If you do, you can just chime in right now. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that, you can feel free to, like I said, to email me, and we will get back to you ASAP on our thoughts about your potential project. It's pretty wide. I mean, there are a lot of things that you can do with this grant. So what kind of expenses are covered once you decide on your project? Like you said, microfilming, travel, like we're not paying for airline travel or anything like that. So basically 31 cents per mile is what you're limited to in terms of travel expenses. Archival or research library user fees, oral history tape transcription, wages or stipends for project personnel such as conservators, curators, educational consultants, and researchers, speakers honoraria in the following amounts: keynote speaker up to $750, one keynote speaker per program, main speaker up to $500, chairperson or moderator up to $150, and panelist to $125. So those are the amounts you can use for speakers. Supplies to be used in the project, material for fabricating and installing exhibitions, payment of fees for touring exhibitions or the costs related to exhibitions loaned out to another entity, archival folders, boxes, and other materials for conservation of historical materials, typesetting, printing, binding, photography and photocopying, and production of promotional and advertising materials. Those are all eligible expenses. So I guess we'll go to who may not apply. Like we said, agencies of the federal and state government. That does not include colleges or universities. Organizations or individuals. Not really individuals. That shouldn't be there. But individuals who have received a grant from the Historical Commission and failed to submit a final report. If that's the case, you cannot apply for a Hudson County Historical Partnership Grant. Organizations engaged in an active project funded by the Historical Commission cannot apply for one of our grants. So if you're already getting money from them for something, that's great. That shows you probably have a higher level of sophistication anyway. You're getting money from the Historical Commission, so you wouldn't qualify in this case for a HCHPP grant. And then, obviously, organizations that do not practice policies of equal access or non-discrimination, you would be barred from applying for a grant. Okay. What's not eligible? What kind of expenses or what kind of projects are not allowed? Obviously, number one's a no-brainer. Projects that do not relate to the history of Hudson County, New Jersey, or any of its municipalities cannot be funded with one of these grants. Project work that's completed before the submission of the application cannot be funded with an HCHPP grant. So let's say you're working on something, or you completed something and you're like, oh geez, this is great, we can get money from this and defray our costs for this program that's already in the can, or something we've already done. No, you cannot. This is for new programming. Restoration of preservation of structures cannot be funded with one of these grants. I think that makes sense. You wouldn't get very far anyway with $8,000. Purchase of collections, furniture, costumes, artifacts, or other items for collections you cannot use Hudson County Historical Partnership Program grant money to do that. Projects of federal or state government agencies, kind of goes back to number one, cannot be funded with one of these grants. Conservation materials owned by the federal government cannot be funded. Conservations of collections of unidentified photographs cannot be funded. We want this to be like something concrete and something that's of value. If you're conserving just nice-looking photographs, so you have no idea who's in them or what's in them, then we would not be funding that. Programs which are not accessible to the general public cannot be funded with one of these grants. So if you're just doing this for your club or something, just for your membership, we would not be funding that. This is so that the general public can have access to it. Publications such as coloring books, cookbooks, and calendars cannot be funded with one of these grants. We want this to be like, projects that are really meritorious. Genealogies of specific families, unless it's of a family that's that can help us enhance our understanding of Hudson County history, cannot be funded with one of these grants. So if your family's been here since the 1600s and you want to do more research about your family, but it really is just about your family, the Joe Blow family, we would not be looking to fund something like that. Videotaping or audio transcripting of public programs or audio or oral history interviews without the production of transcripts that can be made accessible to the public, you can't fund that with one of these grants. So we want this, I think you're probably getting the theme here. We want this to be accessible to the public. So you would need, you would definitely, if you were doing a audio taping or videotaping a public program, you would need to make transcripts available. Capital projects cannot be funded with the HCHPP grant. That makes sense. Like I said, it's $8,000, so you wouldn't get very far funding a capital project. Purchase of books or prepackaged instructional materials cannot be funded with a grant unless the applicant can demonstrate that such expenditures are warranted. So if that's what you have in mind, definitely bounce it off of us. We're looking for new and original stuff, not like prepackaged stuff that's off the shelf. This kind of goes back to earlier, but trophies, prizes, scholarships, hospitality, food and beverage cannot be funded with a history partnership grant. HCHPP grants cannot be used to pay for support fundraising events or for the recipient organization or for donation to other organizations. So if you belong to an umbrella organization, you pay dues to that organization, you cannot use these funds to pay dues to another organization or to attend a fundraiser for another organization. That's pretty commonsensical. And field trips cannot be funded with one of these grants. So we want it to be something that's greater, it's in context. So that pretty much is that. Does anybody have any questions about what we just discussed? Feel free to chime in. If you don't have a question, or you have a question and you just don't feel like asking it now, that's fine. Just feel free to send us an email. So I don't know if we really need to go through the narrative stuff. It's pretty self-explanatory. You should definitely read through this stuff. So in a minute we'll go through the application, and Martin will go through that. But this is not like a really it's not a heavy lift, I don't think. Basically, there's a narrative that you'll need to complete, and it's basically a who, what, when, where, why, how about your project. And you can pretty much, it's pretty concrete, what I put here, the numbers A through H. And then there's a budget narrative, and that's basically just putting a little meat on the bones of your numbers that are going to be in your budget. Like I said, it's advisable to keep your budget on hand when filling out this portion. And you should just know that you need to do both the narrative, both the budget narrative and the line item sections for consideration. So, don't just hand me the budget narrative and not the budget itself, or vice versa. Don't just hand me the budget without a narrative. You got to do both. And then the budget. I think if any of you applied for LAP and you applied for program support this year, you might. I find it a little confusing, to be honest with you. So I revised it, and it's pretty. I think it's pretty good now. It's pretty solid. But you just know this is an important concept, and you should probably just glue this in front of you when you're doing your budget. So your earned income, which is your ticket sales, your cash donations, or any money you get from anywhere, plus your in-kind income, which is, if you got free rent or donations or donated labor. If you add your earned income plus your in-kind income plus the grant amount you're seeking, that should equal the cost of your project. So that's pretty important. So all this stuff, basically in the end, everything should add up. At that, we're going to pass it over to Martin. He's going to pull up Zoom Grants, the application, and run through that. And then if we have any questions, you can feel free to ask them. So without further ado, Martin Greenlee, are you there?
All right. Yes. Hi, Joe. I'm here.
Hey.
I had to unmute my phone.
Okay.
Great.
I'm going to mute my phone and just so you don't have to hear my heavy breathing, everybody. And then if I want to chime in, I will. Actually, I don't even know if I can mute. I can mute my phone. All right, I'm going to mute my phone. Go ahead, Martin.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everybody for participating, and what you're seeing on your screen currently is the application portal, and I believe you can get this link from the email that you've sent. I think it's also been advertised potentially as well, and I'm sure it's on your website as well, Joe. So this is a page.
Martin. It's available. It's available. There's a link that I sent to everybody. It's also available on the Hudson County website. If you go to the news section of the Hudson County website, there's a link there. So you should not have a hard time finding it. Sorry about that.
Great. No worries. Thank you. So when you come to this page, you need to create your own Zoom Grants account. Now, if you've already created an account through the LAP program, you would sign in up here at the top. So put in your email and your password and go ahead and start that if you already have a Zoom Grants account. If you are new to Zoom Grants, go ahead and start your account down here below. Put in your email address, your password, your name, and then create that new account. When you create that new account, it's going to let you know that congratulations, you've successfully created that account. And our super applicant today is Clark Kent, Mr. Superman, and we're going to go ahead and start applying for this program. When you click apply, you can open up the application in time here shortly. There we go. So we've started our new application. In this, you can click on any of these tabs here. We use a tab system in Zoom Grants. Up at the top is your name, and we've got some resources for you. So this help button will be important for you. If you have any questions on how to use Zoom Grants, we've got some tips here on how to use Zoom Grants. Highly recommend reading that before you get started. And then we've also got a video, slideshow, tip sheet, and then you can contact Joe by clicking this button here. It'll open up your mail. If your email account is tied to your browser, that'll open up your email, whether you use Outlook or something to that effect. If you have any technical problems or questions, you can also contact our assistance team as well. We provide that technical assistance for you, which brings up a good point that we do have technical support available to you. And that phone number there is 866-323-5404, extension 2. And that email address is questions with an S at zoomgrants.com. And we are in the Mountain time zone and the Pacific time zone, so we are a few hours behind you folks. So just keep that in mind when you are trying to call and trying to reach us. We do check our messages after hours, and it's most often we could return those calls to you first thing in the morning or send an email back to you right away. I'll pull this back up at the very end just to make sure you folks have that contact information. All right, so we'll hide this and get into the application. So these first row of tabs is the introduction. You can click any of these tabs and get some basic information about the funding opportunity here. You can click this and hide it when you're done with it, and you can find out some information who may apply. Get rid of that when you're done. The restrictions, information there. The library is where you'd find those guidelines that Joe was going through. You can click on that. That'll download that PDF or whatever it might be, a Word document, not sure. You can read those guidelines. All right, so we've got this row of tabs here that we're going to go through. There is a pre-application, and we're going to start off by using this program summary page. There's some instructions on what you need to do. So here's some information, and Joe's email address is there and phone number. That's all there for you in the instructions as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give my title, and we'll call it Superman. I guess I'm supposed to be history focused, right? So history. And whoops, there we go. Congratulations. What did I just do? There we go. And I'm going to put the amount that I want to request, and that is $5,000. And you'll see that flash of blue there. That flash of blue is automatically saving the data as you're working through the system. If that saving screen gets stuck, it could be on a poor internet connection. Just double click your mouse and that saving screen will go away. Most often it does save the data. It does save it automatically as you're working through the system. And go ahead and put your information here. Some of this will automatically populate your phone number, your organization information, your EIN number. We're going to also check automatically if the EIN number is registered with the IRS as well. So you're going to see a little pop-up once you put that EIN number in there. We're going to confirm that EIN number is correct with the IRS. This collaborator features allows you to invite teammates or colleagues or other grant writers into the process. And to do that, you can put their email address in here, allow them to have editing access for the application, and invite them into the process. They're going to receive an email inviting them, and they can create their own password into the system. But the key thing to remember with collaborators is that they cannot submit, archive, or delete this application. They can only edit the application. The only person that can submit the application is the primary applicant here. Feel free to answer all these other questions. If you want to add additional teammates to this application for viewing, as far as being notified when that application was approved and accepted, or different messages that goes out, you can add those staff members here as well. All right, moving on to the next tab is the pre-application. And here you're going to answer some upfront questions about your proposal and go ahead and work through those. In these large paragraph questions, and some of these short ones as well, there's character counters in there, and they count all spaces, all characters. So if you're copying and pasting from a Word document or something like that that has formatted text, just keep in mind that when you do copy and paste into these boxes, you can do that certainly, but if you have more than 1,500 characters, it's only going to copy the first 1,500 characters. And if you have a bunch of bolds and colors and bullet points and a bunch of other fancy text in there, it's going to strip all that out. And so just keep that in mind. And if you're copying from Microsoft Word sometimes and you looked at Microsoft Word and it said it's 1,499 characters, and you try to copy and paste it, it's not copying at all. Well, that's because Microsoft Word had put some additional characters which you aren't seeing behind the scenes. So, excuse me, what's sometimes best when you do copy and paste is to strip that formatted text down into either the notepad function of your Microsoft Word system or something else that removes all that formatting. But you still can cut and paste from Microsoft Word if you're using that. So complete these questions and move on to the next tab, and that brings up the main application questions. You're going to answer these questions. You do need to answer every question that's presented, even if potentially it may not apply. So that's one of the requirements in Zoom Grants, is that you answer all questions. The next tab is the budget tab. Again, there's instructions here for you. And go ahead and answer these questions. Put the budget in here by just placing that number in there. You do not need to put the $sign in there. You can remove the commas if you want to. It's not necessary. That's all there available for you folks to fill out. The next one is the documents. And my computer's loading here. I'm on a poor internet connection today. So bear with me here. Like my internet just pedaled out here. Let me switch to my Wi-Fi. been having some thunderstorms here in Oregon, so I apologize for that. Let me just see if that worked for us.
We had some this morning.
Let me move to a different location. Thanks for your patience with me here. I'll be right back. Is your screen darkened out there, Joe, or?
No, it's I still have the application up, and a little pop-up just came up and said the presenter's internet went down. Please be patient or something like that.
Well, that's nice. It does it automatically.
Sorry, folks.
Okay. Yeah, just be right there, and I should be connecting shortly. Well, isn't this unfortunate?
No dice?
That's stinking here. I'm almost there, I think.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions while we're trying to get this back up? Feel free to unmute your phone. Is it hopeless?
I think we are hopeless. I'm saying this with a nice smile on my face, and I just, come on. I guess I can wrap up my portion of it without the visual aid, and just say that as you progress through the system will save automatically as you're entering in that data. We talked about answering the questions that have character limits. You can copy and paste the information. You'll fill out the budget with numerical data. And then the last tab that I was going to show was the documents section. And the documents is a listing of documents that are required. Some of are listed are required, right, Joe? And
yeah, I could maybe I could pull it up on my computer. You want to?
See if I don't know if I can. I can't.
Oh, you can't pass it over to me.
So I know, unfortunate. Yeah, there's a list of documents that you folks would upload. Uploading documents is pretty straightforward. You would click on the upload button, find the document on your hard drive, or if you want to link it to a cloud storage account, you can do that as well.
Let me just say though, we have a hard time accessing Dropbox here in the county, so it's better. It's definitely better if you can do if it's something that you can put on your desktop and just upload from there. That's probably the best thing. You can also use, send us links to, if there's audio or video that you want to show us, then you can do that as well. And Martin, you may just tell them about the 4 meg limit.
Oh, yeah, certainly. So you can upload as many documents within each of the requests, but you are limited on the size of each of those documents. So it is a 4 megabyte limit per document, but again, you can upload as many 4 megabyte documents as you wish to fulfill that document request. So keep that in mind.
Yes.
As you're uploading your documents.
Yeah, so one of the things we ask for is you can provide us with I think up to 5 support documents. So there's not separate there aren't separate places for each one. You can upload them all to that in that area as long as they're all less than 4 megs, which you'll be able to see. I'm probably not describing it that great, but you'll see it's pretty idiot proof. Martin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
It's just not wanting to connect, folks. I apologize. Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
Yeah, this is a lot. Seemingly maybe a lot to digest in this, 45 minutes we've been talking. But if you have questions, like I said, technical questions, you can definitely direct to Zoom Grants, and they're very good about getting back to you. If you have obviously substantive questions about the program or about what you're thinking about doing, or about your narrative or any of those type of things, feel free to get in touch with me. I think you probably all have my info by now, but I'm happy to answer any questions whenever. So yeah, does anybody want to chime in? Does anybody have anything they want to ask or say? No. It was all very clear and cogent and concise. I guess, Martin, we'll wrap it up. So we're going to post this online for, obviously, if you're on here, you probably won't need it, but in case you need a refresher or something like that, you'll be able to access it, and I'll be sending the link out to everybody. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're excited about this grant. It's new, something something that we haven't done in a long time. Hopefully we get some real creative applications for things that people want to do, so we can tell people about the great history of Hudson County and our municipalities. And with that, I guess I will sign off. And unless anybody has any last questions, going once, going twice, going 3 times, we will talk to you. Great. Martin, thank you.
Thank you. You bet, Joe. Sorry about that. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.